Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high level best of 3 of StarCraft 2. Today in the top left spawning as our Red Zerg player playing for Team DKZ, and this of course Dark. And in the bottom right as our blue Protoss player playing for the Twisted Minds. It is Classic, our Protoss player from Korea, opening up with a quick scout, wanting to block as well. Oh no, Dark. I've seen this one too many times. Coming out of Dark over the past few weeks, where he sends this worker across the map, and I believe he uses it for a hatchery in his opponent's natural. This has really been quite a common play out of Dark. I'm not entirely sure why this is such a common play coming out of Dark, because literally every time I saw it, it was like, well, that was great, but not really. And I'm not entirely sure what purposes it serves either. So you're blocking your opponent's natural for a little bit, but at the same time, your own natural is still being blocked as well. And now Dark is going to try and, you know, head in there, but there's no reason for Classic to go away. He sees that his opponent has built a hatchery here. It's like, well, what's kicking off over here, you know? He's building a Zealot now, chrono boosting this out. This is a weird pylon positioning, but I'm okay with it. He could actually take a third base. He's gonna take a third base. Okay. So for the people that are not aware, I played a series against Bly yesterday, in which Bly played Proxy Hatch multiple times against me as well. I played in the ESL Masters, and he would often build a Proxy Hatch in your natural, and I was aware of that, and I checked out some different responses out of Protoss players, and one of the responses that Protoss players were going to, specifically Skillas, was to take that third base, just really quick, skip the Zealot, just get an Adept out, build the third over here, and then just get a full wall with a Stargate, battery down here, battery at your third, and your opponent just wasted 300 minerals in your natural. Like, what are they gonna do? They can't Roach Rush, or if they do, you can just scout it and still get a Zealot, or even get a Forge out and maybe build a cannon or something. If they're just going for a Link Flood, honestly, building Adepts, going into a Void Ray is going to be good enough. So I'm kind of surprised to see Classic still go for that third base in a different location, yet also building two Zealots, because these two Zealots, they delay your gas by quite a bit, they delay your tech by a little bit as well, and of course they, well, you also are most likely going to have less probes. It delayed his Nexus by quite a decent time as well. Not a huge fan of the response so far coming out of Classic, but I still believe this is absolutely fine. The build that Dark is playing right now, in my mind, is one of the worst builds that is actively being played at the pro level at the moment. I don't quite understand why it is being played, but it is a fact that it is being played. So 25 workers to 19, Void Ray as the first unit, and that Void Ray should shut down any serious aggression that Dark can send across the map. Link speed, still about 25 seconds away from finishing up as well. This Roach is going to finish up, and the moment it does, it's going to send a massive warning signal here over to Classic, basically saying, hey mate, I have a Roach Warren, and you know my eco is balls, so most likely there's a Roach. Are you building a Baneling Nest? Okay, well, this build turned from bad into god-awful. Yeah, okay. If I would have gotten this game in rank roulette, I am not sure if it would have been above the diamond level. Holy crap, this was an awful build out of Dark. Look, I love Dark as much as any other StarCraft 2 sim, but that build is truly pushing it. I don't know. I really don't know about that one. That seemed legitimately very bad. Yeah, it just seemed awful, and it was awful. And I think Dark realized this. Oh, he didn't even try to execute. He's like, okay, this one's garbage. Maybe Dark believed that his opponent was on one base, but then going for a two base all-in with two different tech structures also doesn't make any sense. So actually, no matter what happens, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. As Dark is pretending to take his third base right now, well, in reality, he is 12 pooling and is sending this drone across the map. I think he's just going to proxy hatch again here. I think he's going to proxy hatch again. Classic is not aware of it. He's staying downstairs here, which is kind of a wild play. He really needs to go up here. He's gonna scout around. Oh no, I think something terrible is about to happen. Oh no, Classic. Oh. Classic is going to scout around and... Okay, I was afraid he was gonna go to the different third base. That would have been so bad. But now he's going to see these links popping out. That is something at least. There is a probe downstairs here. Builds a pylon on the third base. Classic thinks it's the same build as last game, but this is a 12 pool, my friend. We're going to need a slightly different response, and this pylon, yes, okay, it gets cancelled, the one that was being built at the third base. We have a second gate coming down as well. He is massively supply blocked, though, because that pylon has been cancelled. It's going to be a single zealot. Is this Cybercore late, or is it me? No, that Cybercore is about 8 seconds late. That is very late for a quick Cybercore. That is one of the latest quick Cybercores that I've seen in my life. It is so slow that you almost can't call it a quick Cybercore anymore. It's pulling a couple of probes, which is something you never want to do. It's going to finish up at 2:08, I believe. Regular timing for this core to finish, if you're playing core before Nexus, should be 2 minutes. So that means an 8-second delay on the Adept. And it's not just going to be 8 seconds. No! Classic, what are we doing? Miscontrols the Zealot here. Building a battery? That is kind of understandable. There's a hatch here after all, and it's natural. The first Adept started like 2:14, 2:15, 2:16 into the game. That is 16 seconds later than it should. What an absolutely just poor response here coming out of Classic. He misread this situation completely, as Dark here is not transitioning out of this either, by the way. Classic right now is thinking, okay, how do I clear this stupid hatchery? But all Classic really needs to do is figure out how to not die as he shades into a surround with an Adept. Oh no, Classic has lost his battery on the low ground. This Adept also is going to get surrounded, does manage to break free. He wanted to break free and he did. As Zealot now might get surrounded, will get surrounded. Queen pops out in the natural as the Adept in the wall is going to delay the move-in of any further links for now. Queen pushing some creep up here as well as a drone starting. Obviously going to be for a spine crawler, which I think is a pretty freaking smart call. The moment these gateways get depowered, though, I think the game just ends here, and I don't really see a way currently for Classic to properly transition out of this. There is a hatch at home, so Dark is on 3 bases, technically. Dark's on 3 bases. Is one of the bases he shares in his opponent's natural, but I don't think that, I don't think that's going to stop Dark. I don't think that's going to stop Dark. So he's building 12 more links, which is surprising. Wouldn't just mind seeing a couple of drones. But then again, Dark here is just to win. Dark doesn't want to go into a macro game from here and be ahead. No, he says, actually, I just want to win the game at this moment. And I appreciate that completely. I understand it. And I appreciate the willingness to risk it all over here. Don't forget, he's down 1-0. If he loses this particular game, he is dead. Links do find some damage as the battery is out of range to deal with those links. Probe being pulled off the line, that means that there's less mining currently for Classic, despite being up 9 workers. We get a probe pool. This is not entirely what I had expected. Super Battery does activate right now. Would have loved to see that Super Battery being the one a bit further forward, so that these probes would have been better in the fight. This is actually kind of surprising. Second spine now moves up. There's no third spine, but there are 2 transfuses, and I think that should pretty much be it over here. Adept very low. Battery energy practically non-existent. If this Robo goes down before the Immortal finishes up, I don't really think there's anything that Classic can do anymore. GG gets called. Dark, with a terrible build into a great build, ties up the series, and I think we've played about 9 minutes so far. And that means that game number 3 is now on our hands. Classic spawning in the bottom right here of side Delta, opening up with a 13 pylon. While Dark on the other side of the map, in the top left of side Delta, is not opening up with anything too strange, but not sure how long that is going to last. What do we have? What do we have over here, my friends? What is it you've got for me? I'm very curious. Classic's gonna get this gateway. Fun little fact, by the way, about the 13 pylon for the people that don't know. 13 pylon is... So the standard pylon, if you're very new to the game, or just not a Protoss player, the standard pylon timing is at 14 supply, 14 out of 15 for Protoss. The 13 pylon gets constructed 1 supply earlier, so you're cutting a probe for a little while, and then you chrono boost your probes after. This allows you to consistently block the Zerg's natural hatchery without much effort. However, economically, it is 5 to 10 minerals worse than just sending a second probe out a bit earlier. Because the 13 pylon into chrono boost is actually not very efficient, because you have to go for a probe cut and then another probe cut. So it is not actually that great. It's not a brilliant opener. I personally don't like it very much because of that. But there are some Protoss players that feel that it flows kind of nice, and you don't have to put in so much effort. You don't have to micro your workers. Like, it's just easy, and it's only 5 minerals. So there is some, you know, I think a lot of the Koreans, they don't really seem to care as much. They just, this is kind of funny, but they often, Koreans, they prefer having an easier time playing, even if it loses them a bit of optimization, which is why I think a lot of the time at the high level tournaments, they also tend to perform very well. It's because they tend to make it a little bit easier for themselves. Some of the high level Korean players. I think it's the same with Dark. You know, he's one of the guys that loves adding extra macro hatches against Terran, for example, while all the other Zergs are really reliant on their injects. And it sounds stupid to kind of admit, like, okay, I can't do this, but I think it's really cool. It's like, you know, it's kind of realistic. Also knowing that often in tournament play things do end up going wrong, and you'd rather have it be easy, you know, and easily executable. Don't want to spend too much mental power. Then again, you check someone like Serral, and he optimizes every little thing in the early game, and he executes it well in tournaments. So, you know, there's levels to this thing. For now, Dark with the third base here on the 9 o'clock position. At the same time, we have Classic chrono boosting this Nexus. Love and Life altogether. What's the camera of Dark doing over here? I guess he's sending an Overlord there. Or he was admiring the water physics. Wow, I love StarCraft too. What a beautiful game. Nice water. It's possible. It's also possible it's not the case. Void Ray first coming out of Classic. Wondering how he's going to follow it up. Did Classic play against Dark in the last GSL, and did he go for a Tempest rush? Was that against Dark or was it against DRG? I recall Classic doing it against a Zerg, but I can't recall which Zerg it actually was. In my mind, it was, I think it might have been DRG. Little Tempest rush into a Blinkolin actually is what he played, which was very cool. I think that just opened up with a single Oracle though, not with a Void Ray into Oracle. Overlord here is being taken out. It's gonna temporarily supply block Dark, but it actually finished up practically instantly, so it doesn't actually supply block for all that long. Still mining a bit of gas over here. Might try and rush into a quick lair here, by the looks of it. That's a lot of gas saved up. It's not throwing down an Evo chamber, as this depth is nicely in between 3 mineral patches. Peninsula. Truly. Surrounded by blue stuff on 3 sides. And links on the other. Pam pam pam. Okay, it's going to be this... I actually think it was on this map as well, if I'm not mistaken. Double gas as a follow-up. Fleet Beacon into second Stargate. We have the Void Ray into Oracle. Now we're gonna see some stuff, aren't we, matey? We're gonna see some stuff right about now. Oracle pops in over here. What else do we have? Okay. Couple of kills. That's a good start. I think that's 4 kills. Yep, there we go. 4 kills instantly on the Oracle. Tectonic Destabilizer starts instantly as well. That's interesting. It's a very powerful upgrade. With this upgrade, I believe you require 5 shots to clear an individual spore. And without the upgrade, about 38 shots to clear a spore. That number is not accurate, but that's what it feels like often. That's a Tectonic Destabilizer. Takes 100 seconds, right? Yeah, 100 seconds. Tempest 42? 43 seconds, yeah. I wouldn't have known this about a month ago, but I did some research for one of my own Tempest builds. I had to remember all these timings to, you know, figure out what the most efficient way was to get what I wanted. Yes, Void Ray 2 Tempest. Does he move out with 2? I think he moves out with double Tempest here. Yeah, I like that. I really do like that. Creep is fairly mediocre, coming out of Dark. He has 6 queens. The moment you see the Tempest, I think the appropriate response is pure queen drone. Like, you just add an extra base, you go get a bunch of spores, 3-4 extra spores, and then you just make pure drones. However, it feels like Dark actually was planning on Ling flooding a little bit here with maybe a Baneling attack as well at the same time. I don't actually think this has any real potential against the defensive setup here that Classic already has. Classic almost has no workers on this base, by the way. It does have a 5th gas, but hardly any workers. So he's now starting to kite. Look how slow he is at killing this spore. And at some point, the orange crap coming out of the Tempest Or the bullet coming out of Tempest will turn orange. There we go, boom. Now it's gonna deal some serious damage. Only against Spores it deals more damage. Well, against buildings. Spore is going to be the most important one there. Require 5 Tempest to one-shot a queen. But if these queens have a little bit of damage, you can just shoot them like this as well, of course. There we go. Another queen goes down. Bane's now moving in. There's 2 Tempest here at home. That is feeling real freaking nice. How is Classic planning on following this up? I'm not sure if he is planning on following this up. Maybe his plan is just to kill his opponent right now, because that is kind of what it feels like. Void Rays are being added in here. Being built 2 by 2. Tempest 5 and 6 will be important. Classic was hesitating, sending them across the map, of course. Was afraid perhaps of dying to that Link Flood. Now once again is going to send 1 back home. Once he reaches those 5, that really influences a couple of transactions. It is 5, right, for a Spore? I think it was 5 for a Spore. Maybe it was 6. I can't recall now. Pretty sure it was 5. Here we go. Hatchery is being taken out in a couple of volleys as a 3rd Stargate gets thrown down as well. These bad boys continue flying forward. The queen count is at 1. A single queen. There's another hatch here under attack with 5 Tempest. There's what, 4 volleys? Seems to be the case as the 6th Tempest comes in. Will deal the final blow, I think. Needs to probably piss off here. Decides to fight it with the Void Rays that just fly in. And probably can because there's no transfuse available. Usually you see these Corruptor versus Tempest fights and you're like, oh, that's awful for the Tempest. That went terrible. But this time it won't because there's no queens. Usually there's always queens with it. Void Rays dishing out some serious damage here. There's no +1 on these air units. I don't think it's quite going to matter. 59 workers for both players. But one guy has 3 Tempest and 2 Void Rays. The other guy has 2 Corruptors and a Queen. I have a feeling that the guy with the Corruptors and the Queen isn't quite going to win. Classic State, another game here with his double Stargate Tempest Rush. Beautiful stuff. I think this is a different version from the GSL one, though. I feel like that was with less Stargate units initially. So he's changed it up a little bit. I like the way that this played. It looked cool. And yeah, I hope I can bring it into a tournament at some point again. It's Tempest Rushes with the new Tempest, the speedier Tempest, the quicker accelerating Tempest, is really quite something because queens are much weaker against it. Back in the day, pure queen just beat this. It destroyed it. But now, I don't think that's quite the case anymore. Zerg actually needs to scout and needs to make informed decisions. And if there's one thing that Zerg players are bad at, it's making informed decisions. That isn't just lol spam queen. So yeah, cool to see Classic doing it like this. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.